Hello. In this video, I'm going to show you how to build this assembly, how I built this assembly. This is a rotary valve engine that uses a cam that's machined into this this part right here that looks like a ring. There's actually a cam profile, an internal cam profile that I will show you real quick. So there's the cam profile. You know, somewhat of a headache, but simple as far as cam profiles go. So it's very difficult to see, but it is an internal cam. And what this internal cam does is it uses a couple of followers that move the piston back and forth on the inside. So let's take a peek on the inside to see what's going on. So you can see the piston on the inside, couple of oil grooves. So when the flywheel rotates, that piston is transferring the air from one port to the other. Pretty unique little engine. You know, the only advanced mate would be that cam mate, and I'm pretty sure I saved that mate for dead last. So if you look at my feature tree, there's a cam mate. So the follower, the face of the follower, is tangent to this purple face here on the cam profile. So that's a little bit of insight as to how the engine works. You're going to be designing a base for this engine, and the parameters for that will be in the instructions. Okay, but here's the base that holds this engine together, but you're going to be designing a base that this entire engine gets mounted to, and here are the clearance holes right there. So you've got one there and one there. So you've got a couple of mounting holes to work with. You've got some real estate above to put the head of a bolt. So that'll be fun, a little bit of design. Let's take a look at the piston rod subassembly, and I want you to create the subassembly the same exact way. I started with the piston rod, okay, and then I added a piston on one end, in the middle, sorry. Then I added forks on either end, and I made sure that they were fixed. Okay, so they're not floating, they're pinned together. The piston itself is dead center. Then I added a couple of pins. Okay, and then the rollers are last, and I left the rollers free floating so that they're able to spin. Okay, you can't really see it spinning, but it's able to rotate. Okay, and it doesn't affect the assembly whatsoever whether it's fixed or not. At least I don't think so. All right, so this was your piston, the piston rod assembly, and here's the main assembly. So let's take a look at how this was constructed. So I'm going to hide these components temporarily. So there's the base. Cam ring was next, so I mounted that in place. It nests inside this little groove, and bolts would hold it in place. And there's a couple of bearings. Okay, so you got the first bearing and the second bearing. The only difference is this one has a larger bore for the valve, and this one is just a plain through hole for the end of the crankshaft. And then let's see, the cylinder shaft is here. Alright, so you can kind of see this end is where the ports are. This is going to rotate, and this free end is just sticking out the back side. Both heads of the cylinder are identical, so there's one here that caps it, and there's another one on the back end that caps that side. They're identical, using 4 bolts that fasten it in place. Then there's a flywheel. Alright, the flywheel sits inside and is connected to the shaft so that as I rotate the flywheel, it rotates that cylinder at the same time. And then last but not least, the piston rod assembly gets fastened. Okay, so very simple. Let's take a look at the mates that are in this subassembly. and yeah, quite a few to build the subassembly, but very simple. You insert the piston rod assembly in place with a concentric mate and then the cam mate, and you've got yourself a working engine. So with this, the subassembly and a base that you're going to design, you're going to pack and go all of this to me. It's due by next Monday. If there's any questions on pack and go, I'll do it one last time. So you have to navigate up to the file drop down, pack and go, and you have to remember to click right here where it says save to zip file, because what that's going to do is it's going to zip up, and you can see what it's doing, all of the components and all of the subassemblies, including the main assembly. It's going to zip everything into one zip folder. So you can browse and drop it into your week 3 folder for this course, or on your desktop, or wherever you're keeping things. And you click save. What that's going to do is it's going to save every single thing that I need for grading, and you can email that to me the same way you have been forever. Okay? So great little assembly, good assembly practice, and I mean the only advanced feature really is the cam mate. I don't know why they consider that an advanced feature, but it's very simple to use, and that's your week 3 assembly assignment. Thank you.